Hi, I'm Adam Erby, Assistant Curator of Fine and Decorative Arts here at George Washington's Mount Vernon. And I'm here today to talk about a new upcoming exhibition that we have titled Gardens and Groves, George Washington's Landscape at Mount Vernon. The purpose of this exhibition is to explore George Washington's landscape design that was really put in the years after the American Revolution and before the Constitutional Convention. When George Washington returned from the American Revolution, the estate had been in a state of near neglect for 8 years, and George Washington really turned his attention to making the estate into the property that he was looking for. He began in 1784 by designing the landscape around the mansion, what would be called the pleasure grounds, or the place for his guests to enjoy the gardens around his estate. Before that time, the estate itself was built up more for practical use and less for the beauty, aesthetic beauty of the grounds and surroundings. So George Washington spent 1784 designing the landscape, and then in January of 1785 there's this wonderful quotation in George Washington's diary where he rides out into the woods picking all sorts of trees for transplanting around his serpentine paths at the center of his landscape design on the west front of the mansion. So that's the beginning of Washington's landscape design, and he is really engaged in that from 1785 until he leaves for the Constitutional Convention in 1787. Rarely a day passes when George Washington is not out and about making sure that things are planted correctly, that his design is carried out. This exhibition explores that design and looks at the English design influences that Washington was looking to. Washington had a much smaller estate than these large, grand country places in England, but he incorporated lots of those features into that small space. So you'll see in this exhibition, we will take apart the different pieces of the landscape and explore the design influences. We also have 5 key period images of Mount Vernon from George Washington's lifetime so that our visitors can see, really for one of the only times this will be available, see the landscape through the eyes of artists who visited it and see the real beauty of the landscape. The centerpiece of the exhibition is a large landscape model created for the traveling exhibition Discover the Real George Washington. The landscape model is at the center of the room, and people will be able to see the estate in 1799 the way George Washington would have seen it in the last year of his life. We finish up the exhibition by talking about what we do to make sure that the landscape looks as close as we possibly can to the way George Washington would have seen it in the last year of his life. We use archaeology, the historical documentary record, and many other pieces of the puzzle that we slowly put back together to restore the landscape to the way George Washington would have seen it. So today, I invite you to join us at George Washington's Mount Vernon to see Gardens and Groves, George Washington's landscape at Mount Vernon, and really to celebrate George Washington as a landscape designer.